Let's launch a probe into it.
Hey guys, good evening. Davin, Dave.
Oh,
everybody.
Well, everybody out there, welcome to Class L Probes. Hey, we're back again. Hey, we're doing this more frequently, guys. I'm liking this.
Yeah,
indeed.
We're probing a lot of things. What's not to love?
Right.
I mean, what?
I said,
what are you
right.
guys talking about?
I got it now.
What could possibly go wrong?
What?
Yes. Well, we're probing Star Trek stuff, not anything else. Hey, there's
That's
Heather
true.
in the chat there. This is back to the Three Amigos, by the way.
Indeed.
It's true.
So for everybody out there,
the OG probers.
Yep, just a recap of what we're doing here tonight. Well, I mean, this comes from the Debate Nines, and
Hey, Heather.
Those quick little synopsis of a Star Trek thought or theory or question were not enough for me. I needed more, and I enjoyed 20 minutes of talking about one subject here tonight. So that's what we're going to do.
All right.
At least 20.
At least 20. Well, we said we get pretty much on time, Davin. Like, we're pretty good at that hour.
We're pretty good, yeah.
I think I look at the final timestamps more than you two do. But
Well, maybe we don't then. I don't know. But last time we tried to keep to 15 minutes with Heather here, and that didn't work out so well. I know that.
No, it doesn't work out. But we have good chats, and that's the point.
It
I'd
really
be
is.
disappointed if they didn't go overtime.
That's for sure.
Well, where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with yours tonight, Davin. And we'll get going.
Well, it's interesting because it's I picked it due to something very recent in the Star Trek world. So, where are we to? So let's launch a probe. That's where we are.
Oh, we're going to launch a probe.
See if we get a past Worf.
Yep. All right, we're good. So,
All right.
is conquest the best space foreign policy? Now, the reason I chose this was one you brought to a debate night a long, long time ago, Dave, like one of the first ones.
This is one of mine?
Yeah.
Wow, that's gnarly. That's
think. Awesome. No, maybe it was Scott's. It was
Okay.
you or Scott, because it was when only the three of us were doing them. It's from way back. So I picked this one due to the most recent episode of not Strange New Worlds, Starfleet Academy, which top 10 Klingon episode of all time and an all-time great Star Trek episode, as far as I'm concerned.
Which episode?
The most recent one, the Klingon episode of
it's episode
Starfleet
4,
Academy.
is that right?
Fox and something. Yeah, episode 4. The one that focuses on Jaden Krog.
Oh, you're talking about Academy. I agree. Was the strongest episode of the series.
Beautiful episode.
Great episode. Loved it.
So there's something in that episode that has to do with this conquest, the best space foreign policy. Because spoiler alert, you all right with that, Dave? It won't ruin the episode.
Oh no, it's not.
It's just the beginning of the episode, basically.
If a spoiler could ruin a Star Trek episode, it wouldn't be a Star Trek episode.
There's no Konos anymore. You read that anyway. And Starfleet wants to give what Klingons are left a new planet that's like Konos, like shitty and everything. They're like, the only people that could colonize this is Klingons. They're like, it's perfect,
Right. Fight some targs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like lava and targs. But Klingons can't accept a gift like that. So they... Anyway, so... Oh, maybe just spoil the episode. Cover your ears if you don't want this spoiled, Dave. They have to orchestrate a plan to not give it to the Klingons, essentially.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Let them fight for it.
Because to Klingons, yes, let them fight for it. Because Klingons, their conquest is the best space foreign policy. They're like, if we didn't take it, it's not a home. You know?
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
So the Klingons are the most probably prominent example of that, I would say, where conquest is the best base foreign policy to them.
But is it?
But there are other
Or is it
empires.
simply the most? Is it simply the available form of foreign policy given their conceptions of honor?
Well, definitely. Well, we can look elsewhere too. I would say pretty much to everybody but the Federation, conquest is the best space foreign policy.
Why is that?
Well, that in their mind, because that seems to be their protocol. Like to the Borg, obviously, to the Romulans, they don't ask to colonize you. The Borg, I mean, they'll just take you as a planet. So will the Cardassians. So will the Klingons. So will everybody except the Federation. Like, so will the Tholians. So will the Gorn. Everyone will just take your planet except for the Federation. So everybody but the Federation thinks conquest is the best space foreign policy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that.
Sure, that's a majority rules kind of depiction, but what would be the actual policy underpinning making that best?
Well, maybe you could, playing devil's advocate again. Not saying I believe in this. I'm more of a Federation style guy myself, but there seems to be a lot less internal strife and chaos within like a Romulan Empire or a Klingon Empire. They all kind of like, honestly, it's all they kind of just kind of come off on it in a more like kind of communist kind of thing where it's like everyone row with the same boat kind of mentality.
Or totalitarian.
Whereas
we're gonna have to leave the rank incorrectness of that. Just do another.
Well, like maybe not.
Continue on about Star Trek, not about
whatever. More of a nationalist. Maybe put it maybe.
Those are wildly different things.
Depends on how you look at it. But
it does not. If you're going to sit in some sort of random,
but like
liberal populist view of this, then of course you're going to get
the same direction kind of approach. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I kind of believe
Federation is like the whole thing is like it's internal kind of politics and strife. Like, I'm not saying I agree with conquest is the best space foreign policy. I'm just saying. There's just, I guess that's why they choose that. They don't want to like argue within their own empire. They just kind of want to like, you're running the Romulan Empire now. This is what we do. This is where we go. This is what we're doing. I mean,
well, if I hear you rightly, there's a sort of I hear you saying there's a kind of value for them in
the Dominion,
an external enemy against which we sort of can be united.
Yeah,
as a kind of common cause, is that a fair?
Then
it sort of projects problems outward that we can solve by going there.
Yes, I would say so. Not even just problems, but even like positive things too.
On the argument that it is, there's a quote that the safest borders are the ones you can control.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And by that, if you have everybody moving the same way, you can if you're strong enough to conquest quick enough and roll over people, you basically become the dominant figures in that wherever you're taking over. I think when you look at, and Dave, you're going to be the best one to discuss this, but when Rome conquered.
They sure did.
And for the stable countries, except for the conquered countries, they were pretty peaceful for the Pax Romana. How many years?
Well, they would come in and like offer like benefits. So like, here's what you'll get if you join the Roman Empire.
Well, this was Romanitas, right?
Yeah. But you don't have to have a military takeover. It can be saying we're just
as Monty Python probably put it best. Let's say.
What have the Romans ever done for us? But yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
I was just say, bend the knee, and you're gonna, you'll still be a leader in your country, but you are our property now.
Yes. Your foreign policy is our foreign policy.
Right. We
Yeah.
call you to war, you go to war.
And you send tribute to Rome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what it is. But the problem with this analysis in the Star Trek lens that we're doing here is we hear of all these planets and stuff that exist within the Romulan or say Klingon Empire but we don't see these people ever. Who are these people? Are they happy they're there? Like we don't see any of them. Like we see these giant empires of planets, and we hear that there's people that exist there, that are now Romulan Empire, and just like, well, who are they? Where are they? We don't see them on Romulan.
Yeah, the examples we do see, we don't really see examples from inside Klingon space. We kind of only see Klingons leaving Klingon space, which is interesting.
But Klingons might just kill everybody on planets.
That's possible.
But
the one species we do see a reasonable amount of is Nausicaans, who are a Romulan client species. They got rolled over by the Romulans and used as muscle and heavies and shock troopers for a long time. And partly that is in line with their pre-existing cultural values, but partly that's why the Romulans are going to use them for that, and we do see
Nausicaa's inside Romulan space.
That's one version of the Nausicaans. I'm pretty sure Nausicaan is inside or close to. Whoops, I've done something here. Let me do a quick bit of research. But yeah, as I recall, the Nausicaans are they're a Romulan client species.
Well, that's an interesting.
Or at least part of their history was that.
Mm.
And so those borders may have changed back to where the neutral zone is now at some point too, right?
But here, the other side of the coin is that there's only so much scope that the conquering people have, or the ability to keep their conquered planets or countries down. And how far can you go before you? I mean, first of all, it requires a hell of a lot of money to keep the military going and make sure there's some kind of governorship, I guess, over those, right?
Unless the first thing you do is show up and destroy all spacefaring facilities.
Yeah, I do, but I think you just create a resistance.
They probably do initially,
but you really just create a resistance, and you're going to
absolutely.
While on the other side of the coin, not conquesting and actually just trading and working politically with countries, but it seems to work. But even our neighbor to the south hasn't figured that out yet.
Or is this relationship that
routinely, conveniently forgets it as well?
Yes.
Or is this relationship that like the Klingons or Romulans have with these planets that are in their empire, kind of like what we see from the Dominion, which is like the Defiant, or not a Defiant, it was always like a runabout or something, but like we'll go to a planet in the Gamma Quadrant, they'll be like, yeah, our planet's part of the Dominion, but you'd never know that unless the Jem'Hadar just happened to be there at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it could be like that, I guess, that kind of relationship, which is like what the Federation like supposes to be, but they kind of want more involvement. They want you to be involved in what they do and stuff. Whereas like the Romulans wouldn't want that. They would want you to just say you're part of the Romulan Empire, give your tithe or whatever. And like,
sure, I suppose they'll plant people there so they can keep an eye on you. But otherwise,
100%.
It would be nice.
They may not tell you.
So that's my point, Dave. Is that you don't have enough. How many trustworthy people do you have that can keep that control, right? And
how big is the
That's Romulan's whole thing, though.
Yeah. But you think about our conquesting countries just in our own history, and the fact is, you can only conquest so long before something happens. And
sure, I mean, if you take just the most,
100%, it's easier to take a place than keep a place.
Yeah, you take the almost like silly example of risk, right? You've got to leave an army wherever you go, at least one.
Yeah, that's the best example ever. From a guy who never remembers that.
And it just gets so expensive to move around the board unless you're getting lots of cards, right?
Yeah.
And that's
all about Australia. I'm telling you, you get in there early, you get
Australia. Yeah, my favorite was South America because you got the two. But anyway, This is a crazy rabbit hole. Anyway, but it does bring me to the Cardassians, who are an interesting case for some of this, because one of the things we know about the Cardassians as opposed to some of the others is that their expansionism is
Yeah.
at least the latest phase of it, where we meet the Cardassians, was prompted by resource poverty in and around Cardassia Prime.
Part of their empire, really, at all, except as like whatever they can take from it.
Exactly. So they're more they're very much an extractionist power, right?
Yeah.
So I think their model would more be like occupations, and you can see the comparatively small size of Cardassian territory, I think, in relation to that, right?
Yeah.
They're running prison camps all over the place. They're running occupations of Bajor and here and there, whereas, it's sad to admit it, but we're probably right. The Klingons and the Romans probably just steamroll a place and then say, "We rule the space between the stars. If you want any more, try something." You know, which we can see again many examples of in current day politics. But what it fundamentally means is that the Klingon and Romulan spaces, I think, that we're describing, are places rife with potential insurrection, rife with resistance, rife with people who are just waiting for a moment to blow up a transport.
Be nice to see more of that.
Take that down. It'd be fascinating, because we see a lot inside Federation space. One of the things that was really cool about Prodigy that way and Voyager was seeing places that were so distant from Federation space that it felt like I don't even quite know what universe we're in,
Well, enter into the record here. The race with the biggest space of all is the Borg, and they do the
but they do it differently, right? When they take over, it's control. It's total control. You have resistance if you talk. There's no
potential for very
total domination.
There's nothing left. There's nothing.
Unimatrix Zero or whatever.
Yeah. I suppose they make the Cardassians look at rank amateurs at extraction.
Yeah.
That first vision we get with them, where they've just hollowed like ice cream scoop that settlement away at the end of season 1, is
in that crater,
the neutral zone.
Yeah, but remember what they say too. We take what we need. We take everything. No, actually, we take everything and use it for, for the betterment of the Borg, right? And the other thing there too is they actually, if you look at it that way, they do envelop culture and education and everything. They take it in and just make it part of them, right? While other subjugating empires, I guess, just you're gonna make it the Cardassian or the Romulan or the Klingon way.
That is a fascinating spin on that, because I wanted to argue almost that the Borg don't do conquest, they do assimilation. In the sense that, like, from the outside, it looks an awful lot like conquest and warfare. But from inside, I'm not even sure the Borg would describe it as warfare. We encounter resistance. There's a certain amount of friction when you enter a system. That friction is represented in starships and other things. And
conquest in the sense that they don't ask you anything. They don't ask.
Well, and sure, right? Absolutely.
You will be assimilated.
You really got me thinking there. Yeah.
That's the difference, though. That's why I think you could still call it conquest, whereas there's no questions. But it would be nice to see some of the Romulan examples and stuff. I'd be fascinated to see.
Oh yeah.
So honestly, I don't think it's the best. I think the reason Federation space is bigger than Klingon space and Romulan space and all these things is because they just ask and hey, let's share riches. It's a good deal. And
the other part,
but
if I could just say one more thing about on the conquest side, you always have a subjugated class who's basically not deemed the same, and you have racism and you have all this nonsense created out of this because you have a serving class essentially.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Look at the Remans.
Yes.
Yeah, the Remans weren't happy. That's the example we get from the Romulans, I guess. They subjugate their own moon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty
But
brutal policy.
it is brutal, and it
But-
doesn't last
But for the Klingons, it worked in that episode.
in that episode.
I mean, you know, yeah, that's an interesting thing. When is it like enough of their culture that this is how we invite them to come here? Oh, you can have a good fight. Honest, we promise.
In fact, the whole, though, you think about this, though, the whole relationship with the Federation as allies doesn't even make sense for Klingons. Like,
Well,
at some point,
Say more.
Well, that's why like Gowron and stuff was getting out of favor with the people of the Klingons because he wasn't expanding the empire at all. Because they're inherently expansionist as a people, not just a government. So
Yeah,
he wasn't expanding, and so they're like, "You suck," and that's why he went crazy and like, you know, almost sunk the empire in DS9.
right. I mean, look, I think, Sir David, it basically comes down to this. Ally and partnerships work when it serves you. But as soon as I see the need to take the Soviet Union, I'm turning over. I'm going the other way.
What is that? What is that famous statement of Kissinger's? It is dangerous to be America's enemy. It is deadly to be our friend. Which again is one of those realpolitik statements, like, you know, states don't have friends, they have interests. Which is part of, I think, what we're talking about here in that sense, that calculations of interest are in some ways fundamental to how each one of these spacefaring nations goes about what they do. You know, the Romulans calculate their interest in a certain way, the Klingons in one way, the Borg in a wholly odd and sort of tangential way to the way anybody else does, but they're still calculating their own interest fundamentally. And each of these civilizations arrives at the idea that simply using force is, who knows if it's best, but it's efficient. It's quick. It does it, you know?
For a time.
Yeah.
So, fellas, is conquest the best space foreign policy?
I mean,
Here, let me just throw this. We've only been juxtaposing this with the Federation, really. But what about not expanding at all? There's a third option. What about just being your planet, and maybe that's the best space foreign policy?
like the Bolians.
Like the Bolians, exactly. Like,
they
they're
joined
weird
the
examples.
Federation.
They're sort of like like half.
Wait, like
We don't know them. They just stay to themselves. I'm just joking, guys. Yeah.
the Bolians are part of the Federation, but they also run the Bank of Boleus, right?
Yeah, which is independent.
Which and have a completely independent trade policy alongside being members of the Federation.
Yeah,
They're a beautiful example of that. In one, you know, because they literally just take their cake and they eat it while they're reaching for some other cake, and they're going to eat that too, because they love cake.
and they have caustic internal fluids.
That's true. That's
I
true.
think our argument could be made that, you know, depending on who they're conquesting, you know, it could be they're taking over a government or a tyranny that is oppressing a people, and then, you know, the Romulans might be better than that. You know, it might be, but I don't know if that is too real, but it could be.
What the responsibility to protect arguments are very, very challenging in that respect. You know, I mean, just because of the projects to which they've been generally linked, you know, which have almost universally been regime change projects, which makes it difficult to. I mean, for me, I prefer the notion of non-interference and dealing with who's in charge in ways that at least allow you to speak nation to nation. But the trouble is, that means that you end up having to be sort of endlessly patient, which is not something that
That's true.
I think most of us are super good at. Yeah.
I think we all agree that the Federation's approach is better than like the Klingons' approach. But what do you guys think if you go back to like Enterprise era, where like Archer and them are just bumbling out into space? Would it be better for Earth's foreign space policy to just do what the Vulcans say and just be Earth? Because the Vulcans essentially do that. They like to have a few exploratory ships out there, but their policy is essentially just be Vulcan.
Yes.
Like that's their fault.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that there is need to explore and make a statement, but don't go with one ship.
But that's a difference. Like exploring, that's what the Vulcans do. But that's different between trying to.
No, it's not. It's you got to be able to defend yourself.
Well, right? Even just have a repair tender to come out there, guys. You want 2 warp?
Yeah, they don't even have a backup. You need at least 2.
You kind of do.
Yeah, that's a pretty unimpeachable point, Adam.
And don't have everything delivered on Tuesday. Like the phase cannons were never part of the initial rollout. I mean, goddamn, you need to.
Yeah.
Like it was like they just went out there without any like, oh, everybody's nice, like we are.
They should have had Archer repeat that line. It's like here on Tuesday. Like we're leaving on like the first episode of this, but everything's here on Tuesday.
That's right. Remember, no phase cannons. We left it with them.
It's true. There was a sort of delightful grandiosity to it, you know. I was like, we're just gonna stride right out here.
Well, that was the funniest part when Archer was talking in the early days about, hey, we're from Earth and we just want to get to know people. And you know, he paced around the bridge, and anyway, I found that quite funny.
But then Archer eventually turns that into trying to form political alliances with like Tal.
Well, Archer turns nasty at the end there,
but not even just nasty. But like that's when they try to form it. But what do you think, Dave? Do you think in those early days with Archer, do you think Earth? Because that's where like theoretically, if humans were ever to get there now, that's where it starts. You think we should just take a Vulcan approach where it's just like, let's just be Earth, look around, learn what we can, but like not do political alliances and stuff, because that just leads to being pulled into conflicts and whatever else, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
like be Switzerland or like, or like,
no, I mean, fair enough, right? Like Switzerland is a wonderful example of this, right? You know, how does or the way Austria used to be, you know, how does political neutrality actually benefit you as a society? The Vulcans are a wonderful example of this, right? Because they're tootling around in space for 600 years before they ever get tied up with humans and this whole Federation thing starts.
You know, political alliances at all. Like they had
exactly. You know, now they do have conflicts. Right, they have conflict with the Andorians and others, but yeah, they're sort of manageable on their small scale. The thing that is, again, it's grandiose and it's ultra ambitious. But the thing that the Federation does, which I think Enterprise does provide a kind of rationale for, is to make the point that there is a value in interstellar solidarity and community that doesn't mean dissolving into each other, right? A Tellarite can stay a Tellarite, a Vulcan can keep logic, the Andorians can sled wherever they like, and you know, and we'll keep playing jazz and drinking root beer. But in the middle of that, we can actually become far more than the sum of our parts. And I love that element of
the melting pot as opposed to the what's the other one?
Or, you know, the mosaic or whatever you want to think. Yeah, exactly, right? That kind of rich unity as opposed to the dissolution which would have characterized our proposals of the conquest policies, right?
But what we imagine
kind of overlay you with this,
as opposed to our neighbors to the south, kind of.
Sure, right, fair enough. Yeah,
we don't like in Canada. We kind of pride ourselves on not demanding assimilation. Kind of the opposite of the board. If you want to like set up a community where there's just like a bunch of Jamaican restaurants, that's awesome.
Interestingly, there are really like powerful political discussions in Canada go along the lines of assimilation or not, you know, which is fascinating. as opposed to exactly that kind of more melting pot discussion, which often is a pretty powerful impetus in American style discussions, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interestingly different recipe.
So how do we end this one there, Adam?
I think that was a great conversation, and
Right.
I think that we all agree. Well, let's just face it.
Yeah.
We like the Federation.
Conquering is
model.
mean.
It's pretty cruel.
Yeah.
Just not a nice
Yeah.
guy. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the word cruel comes from, is crudelitas, the bloodiness of a thing, or the desire for blood.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cruelty, man. Whew.
Mm.
Anyway.
Not a fan.
That's how you want your gach, mind you. But
Well, you want to be cruel to your gach because you want it to be very alive. You want it to struggle
Indeed.
for life, really. I mean, if it can fight its way back out your throat, then even better.
Kapla!
And if it chokes you to death, then you've died in battle. Because
Well, I mean,
gach,
it was a valiant opponent at that rate.
you freaking right it was. Where are we going next, Adam?
We're going to mine because it's sort of like the goofy one out of the three tonight.
No, this is the one that's going to make us argue forever. All right.
Oh, the last one didn't spend a half hour doing that.
I know that one went off a bit.
But that wasn't arguing. That was just talking.
Oh, that was great. Ooh, that was
Yeah.
invigorating.
Dave, you didn't really quote any philosophers. I was disappointed, though.
Oh,
Wait
we'll get there.
for it.
Wait for it. We'll get there.
We're going to get to the third volume of
Henry
Pascal
Kissinger
Bell
just
very
doesn't do
shortly.
it for me, okay? I got to say.
No.
Yeah,
he does
no,
not count as a
Kissinger doesn't do it for
philosopher.
me either.
He's simply a
And hearing
diabolist.
Dave quote Henry Kissinger was something.
It's the only useful.
I'm going to
quote
remember
of
that
Henry
forever.
Kissinger.
He was alive when we were. That's not good enough.
I know. Isn't that a stain?
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
never let that down.
Let's fire a probe.
That's a good idea.
We should destroy the probe.
Worf, the inner authoritarian.
Oh, we love him. All right. Adam.
All right. Does Chris Pine
No! All
play,
right, go ahead.
play a better Captain Kirk than William Shatner?
Adam, you're handsome and everything, but turn around. Like, I don't want to look at your face right now. This is...
It's a question. I'm not saying either way here just yet.
That you dare ask, I think is Davin's position.
Can I open with this here?
Please.
Or no, you, Adam, it's yours.
I think
go.
you have.
You go. You go.
No, actually, I'd like you to go first.
One of these portrayals of Captain Kirk launched a franchise. They tried to launch the franchise without him. It failed immediately. He came in and it's just like, I'm Captain Kirk, baby, and bang, 3 seasons, bunch of movies, sequels for until the end of time, all because of his portrayal of Captain Kirk. Not for any other reason. You can point to Roddenberry this or like Spock that. No, it's because of William Shatner. Spock was in the first one. Without him, it failed. It was because of William Shatner playing Captain Kirk. And
Wait.
Chris Pine,
Just hold
Chris
on.
Pine was the portrayal that couldn't
Stop,
even
stop.
launch a 4th movie.
Hold on a second. The one thing I will say on that, before this is a Shatner thing, because Nimoy really changed Spock by the time of the second.
He did.
time.
It was a different portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows how much Shatner had to do with that, man? Like, he was creatively, I think people shit on him all the time, but creatively, he was like driving that thing, man. Like, not writing the stories, obviously, but it's just like all the other actors would complain about how he was constantly interrupting to like get them to change the scenes and stuff. He was creatively driving that whole ship, and it would have failed without it. That portrayal of him and Captain Kirk. And here's your William Shatner. I love William Shatner.
Here.
I saw him talk live once, and it was like a small setting, and he was super vulnerable and like honest and self-deprecating. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. He's nothing what like people think he is because of Twitter or whatever. I'm like, I don't know.
I saw him speak one time with Patrick Stewart. It was called The Captains, and it was awful. They just didn't. I didn't enjoy it at all. But
those two are very different people.
Yeah, they ended up talking about the time that Patrick Stewart. No, Shatner went to Patrick Stewart's place in England and ended up talking about koi. Patrick Stewart's koi for half an hour.
I remember that interview, and the weird thing about that interview, and this seemed to be like the problem with that Captain's thing, is Shatner was having trouble connecting with all of them except for Kate Mulgrew. Those two hit it off right away. And
no. Did they talk about that on the Captains as well?
In the Captains, like he interviewed all of them in the Captains. In the Captains, it's just Shatner interviewing all the other captains.
Yeah, this was live.
Such a young Chris Pine
in Toronto at the Fan Expo one year.
Oh, okay. I see.
So I think for me, one of the challenges here is that, like, Chris Pine, and he's an actor I've enjoyed in a lot of things. I particularly loved him, and I was saying this to you yesterday, Davin. I particularly enjoyed him in the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
And is that
what an absolute delight he was.
Enjoyed him as Robert the Bruce.
Sure, right. What Chris?
Remember that train movie with Denzel? That was good too.
Oh,
I didn't see that train movie.
310 to Yuma or whatever that is, or yeah.
No, it was like. It wasn't Bullet Train, was it, or something like that?
No, not Bullet Train.
No, that was a Brad Pitt vehicle. Ha! Train's a vehicle. Anyway, that was
it is
so
vehicle.
Trains. So, the thing that I feel like Chris Pine has a problem with here is precisely William Shatner's iconic status as Kirk. We've had. And this is kind of leaning into Davin's argument, right? Like, Chris Pine was taking on a monumental task in attempting. They are. You're right.
I told him this was going to be a problem.
Oh, wait till we get. Oh my God. So, I think Chris Pine's sort of fighting uphill and trying so hard not to be William Shatner that. And I don't know how you'd approach it. Like, how would you approach that role? Here's how I would reform.
We have a third example.
How would you approach this role and not be William Shatner?
I think the guy in Strange New Worlds. Oh, wait, I'll be quiet. I want to hear Dave's first.
No, that's my question. Like, how would you approach this and not be sort of have Shatner's Kirk somewhere over against you?
I think you have to lean
into constantly playing off.
But like not the stereotypes. Like I find I think Adam, you were about to say the same thing. Like the guy from Strange New Worlds, he does it. I think better than Chris Pine does, because I think the little bit of like every now and then when you watch a quick Chris Pine, you get a little like hint of Shatner, but it's usually in the more cliche aspects of that character. Whereas this new guy, I wish I could remember his name. The guy who plays Paul Wesley.
Paul Wesley, that's right. Yeah.
He leans into the things that we always defend against the caricatures of Shatner. It's just like, no, like Shatner's actually like a by the books kind of guy, but he likes to kind of rib you a little bit. But like, and things like that. Like, and that's sort of like, I think what Paul Wesley leans into a little more like the actual Captain Kirk that we see, rather than like what pop culture sees as Captain Kirk.
Sure.
I feel like
Kirk Fu kind of swinging through doorways, smashing people with a double axe handle.
Yeah, like Chris Pine is just like, oh look, he's hooking up with two cat ladies, and like I'm like, yeah. I mean,
so here's my thoughts on this, and I agree. By the way, Shatner is Kirk. Like he defined the role. However, I just think that the tenure of the show in the 60s didn't allow him to get better at it.
I think he got better at it in the movies, didn't you?
Oh, in the movies, yes. But it took time. I mean, I think that actually not even time. Wrath of Khan, he was like at his best.
Oh my gosh, yes,
great stuff.
But what I would say is that, like, it would have been tough. Like Chris Pine, okay, I'm playing Captain Kirk. How do you do this? Right? And do I play it completely separately, like Wesley's doing it, or do I do it? Do I take mannerisms? Do I take the way he talks? And he didn't really take the way he talks, but he certainly did mannerisms, right?
Yeah.
And I also think that this was not Pine, but it was because he was able to take it. The script was cool, in my opinion. I like 2009. It was a good enough script for him to go deeper into the Kirk character.
Sure.
Sure. Like, we didn't get any background on Kirk really in the show, and that wasn't how they did things back then on TV. They didn't write it like that. So the cool things that we like today, they did. But the other thing I would say here is that you also had Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg. Who else? The guy Yuri, the fellow who died. I can't remember him.
Oh yes, he was playing
Anton Yelchin.
Thank you. They all played a version of the original series. The only one that didn't was her can't remember her name.
Yeah, she just played Zoe Saldana.
She played Gamora. She played everything she plays.
Yeah. That works for me, honestly. But one of the things that occurs to me as you're making these points on him is that, and this is kind of playing off of some of Heather's comments there, that there was a time when an actor taking on a role would have been a different thing. What is Adam's Hamlet like compared to Davin's? What is his Faust like compared to Dave's, right? But that's partly because the character Faust is in the play that we see, right? Or whoever, Falstaff, Hamlet, Romeo, I don't care, Juliet, doesn't matter to me. But the medium of television immediately fixes our imagination of a character to a particular actor that plays them. The thing that I can imagine that honestly weirdly kind of escapes
and can you, by no drift of circumstance, get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy? Rosencrantz. He does confess. That's my thing.
That's a lovely reading. I give you the part. But I guess, right, so my point is partly that the medium here is part of the challenge. That there's a fixing of the character to the first person that plays them in a way. Sean Connery to Bond. Doctor Who and Bond might be the only ones that vaguely escape this. But they do it by reifying the whole problem for everybody else.
But they have the core. They have the core things. Every one of them. Even Daniel Craig.
That is a good example. Like, there are tons of people who would say, like, there are way better Bonds after Connery. So, like,
right, and everybody's got their favorite Doctor, right? Mm-hmm. Even while the Doctor can be recast and Bond can be recast kind of infinitely.
Like the one thing that I would say about this movie reinvented and rejuvenated. Like Heather said it right there. Actually, I'm glad she said it.
That was a beautiful.
Did Pine play a better Kirk? No.
Next point.
How could he? I know. I'm doing the whole thing. I'm getting her whole point.
Well, that's where my thought, and then Adam's thought comes from the next one. Exactly.
Shatner originated the character. She says. Then she says,
Star Trek
Pine have a terrific take on it that resulted in renewed interest in Trek, and therefore the bounty of all new Trek we enjoy today. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And this is what Star Trek 2009. The dark one, the middle one, and then
we don't talk about that.
I do. I like
Into Darkness, and then I forget what the other one is.
But long and short,
motorbikes.
Star Trek motorbikes.
Star Trek Beastie Boys.
Star Trek motorbikes.
Yeah.
It's a BMX time. Anyway, what was the point you were going to make, Adam?
Trek Too Furious, I believe it was called.
It brought Star Trek back as a franchise that we needed this. We needed those movies to get started. And I'm waiting for the fourth one. I'd love for them to close it out.
To do what?
Close it out. Finish these guys. Let's move on. We need one more.
They were finished after 2009, I feel. Like it was the franchise that ran out of steam before it got started.
I just
like the one thing about Star Trek is the first thing is never the best thing, and with that, it ran out of steam.
True.
Okay, we need to do a debate the movie at one point because I disagree.
Well, we have a show called Debate 9. Bring it, Adam.
I'm going to because
that's actually a great Debate 9 though.
This is important because I could, in my opinion, I would rank those 3 movies ahead of the original cast in many of them. Not
That's
all.
crazy.
Interesting.
Like, that's crazy.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Especially because a member of the original cast shows up in them. That to me is like an inception of how you rate these things, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well worth the debate, though, I think.
Okay. We got to get on to the last one, guys. So let's move
All right.
on here.
All right.
All right.
Let's launch a probe.
Let's get it out.
Whoop. No, that was from
So,
debate.
oh, did I miss
Is
it?
yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
Is Ferengi philosophy better than Vulcan philosophy?
I'm
So
ready.
the point I want to take up here is that this was characterized as, well, okay, 2 points I want to take up. First of
Adam
all,
was there.
is the characterization as like an Eastern philosophy, which I think is upside down. And secondly, the sense that prosperity and profit are essentially the same, which I think is also false. But I'm going to begin at a different place. The tendency of the rate of
I'm
profit.
glad I wasn't debating you in that debate, but I mean, I lost.
What's the question again? Just kidding.
It
Is,
was your debate
Ferengi
that you brought
philosophy
to the last debate, and you
better
beat
than
me, in it,
Vulcan
and you
philosophy?
still don't know. That's extra insult in the wound.
No, I'm joking, guys. Dave knows these.
So the point is, the real point is S over C plus V, the falling rate of profit. Surplus value over capital plus its embellishments, right? This occurs, as we all know, in the 3rd book of Marx's Das Kapital,
Yes.
and characterizes the essential heart of the 20th century and early 21st century. So the falling rate of profit proposes, in fact, that you cannot continue this in the way that would maximize profit. It simply is impossible over the long run.
But the 41st rule of acquisition clearly states that profit is its own reward.
We know this is a bit, Devin, is what I'm arguing. The 41st rule of acquisition points something out, which is a Star Trek joke. The Ferengis are a send-up of capitalism as a mode of thought, because they never understand. Like Quark never gets it right. Quark will abuse and entrap and enslave others and say that the Ferengis never had slavery. Quark will let others get murdered and
117th
abuse and
rule of
oppress females.
Clearly states you can't free a fish from water.
Go on, tell me what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, let me just tell you, the 113th rule of acquisition clearly states always have sex with the boss.
Right. So your point is this is an abusive and exploitative and usurious system. I just
Hold
like
on,
this.
I must have been reading the wrong ones.
This is where I get the
Okay, how about
point that
what the 109th rule of acquisition clearly states? Dignity and an empty sack is worth the sack.
And do you feel that way about your own dignity?
Okay, hold on.
So what you're saying, Evan, what you're saying is
There's
that
no way that this isn't a Star Trek joke. There's no way to get out of this. That logic will not defeat you.
But the 7th rule of acquisition clearly states keep your ears open, and that is great advice.
So here's my thought: is the Ferengis, while difficult to live with, and some of their rules, but they're not hiding anything. They tell you exactly what they're going to do.
But also the 8th rule of acquisition clearly states small print leads to large risk.
Yes.
Right. So the real point of my argument:
take risks, negotiate, innovate, and
always in bad faith. Never approach any situation in good faith.
Okay,
that is the Ferengi philosophy.
There is that. There's the small print, Evan. That's the small print.
That's the small print part. Ferengi's philosophy is like having given up on the possibility of a good conscience. Let's chase that Latinum, baby.
Well, look, the 10th rule of acquisition clearly states greed is eternal. And the 13th rule of acquisition clearly states anything worth doing is worth doing for money.
So as Davin demonstrates, Ferengi thought can only be applied dogmatically by a repetition of platitudes.
Right.
But man, like, oh man, I could get into a lot of things that are like that.
So, okay, so what would you say the Vulcan motivation is?
Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end of it.
Right.
That's
and what's
a good
the
one.
Ferengi, pardon me?
Well,
Desire.
let me tell you, it's the first rule of acquisition.
Once you have their money, you
you're
never give it back.
Mm.
I mean, there is endless comedy in the Ferengi perspective to me. I love.
What about the 236th rule of acquisition? You can't buy fate.
Well, you know, broken clocks are often right twice a day.
You know what? When you consider that they were actually going to be the antagonists of that show of next year.
Oh man!
But man, they took them and used them so well.
Oh, DS9. I think DS9 wouldn't be what it is without the Ferengi, right? Without that tension between Rom and Quark. I mean, it's not exactly the heart of the show, but it is absolutely one of the beating arteries of it.
Look,
Like the whole development of Ferengi culture during that period is wonderful.
the 284th rule of acquisition clearly states, deep down, everyone is a Ferengi.
Well, that was my point. You know, while the other cultures of the Federation, they will follow and do these things. The Ferengis just do it.
I mean,
you got to love their authenticity, right? You got to love that in that sense.
Now, but
you always know not to trust them.
But when you get these other characters like Nog,
Latinum boys,
yes, looks nice,
gold pressed,
in useless gold.
useless gold. What am I gonna do with this?
What were you saying, Adam?
Actually,
look, you know, I want to be honest. Morn drank the Latinum. There's nothing left in there.
That's how he gets like this.
It's true.
Dave knows.
Mm-hmm.
He drinks Latinum all the time.
Tummy full of Latinum over here. I drink it for my gout.
What I was saying is that every now and then when they get into like the Nog role, what was that Deep Space Nine episode coming when he has that the shell shock, the PST?
Oh, when he's living at Vic's.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I love that.
Oh man,
My Way,
it's so good.
Called My Way, I believe.
Like he is so far from that
Way.
Ferengi, character that because he wants to embrace the Federation way of living and philosophy.
And what an interesting moment, right? Because that's a moment where it actually is causing him distress to be kind of between those two worlds in a way, and so he takes refuge in Vic's.
Yeah,
man, what a beautiful episode.
Heather got that was one of my favorite episodes actually of all time. That's up there.
Great. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you know what? There's another acquisition of we haven't talked about, and that is a wealthy man can afford anything except a conscience.
Right. Now, before we wrap up here, can we just talk about the Vulcan philosophy? Because there is a lot to be said. Control, measured response.
It's kind of like stoicism,
unfortunately.
Pardon?
Yeah, it's like yeah.
There's a good deal of repression, but the Vulcans seem in some ways to benefit from that
because of their like unique species kind of quirk, where they're just like hyper violent and
hyper paranoid. Yeah. So it may not be for everybody. But certainly for Vulcans, it's proven to be profoundly, adapted to their universe.
But
it's like the first thing you go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, in both cultures will also drive a human nuts.
Yeah, and that's really worth reflecting on because each of these
But
things,
I like
as much as
Ferengi
I can
more.
rag on the Ferengi, or we can like joke about like Vulcan nerdiness, they are doing that thing that
Nerds.
science fiction does, which is
Yeah.
to take a particular quality and sort of by decontextualizing it, magnify and explore it in ways that if we left it just in context, it would be harder to do, you know,
Here's a
and
human.
probably
Here's
less
an
fun.
alien
The
race
Ferengis
that's
are
just
awesome.
like. But
But
Yeah.
it's
I
but the
mean,
funny thing is the first thing you said about Vulcan philosophy, Dave, like
hmm
logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end. But that's kind of like where they're the end of their philosophy, though. Like to them, that
A
it
lot
might
of
not
Vulcans
be,
get stuck
it
there,
might be
right?
the beginning of wisdom, but it's the end of philosophy, and that's the flaw
well,
of
what
their
about the
philosophy.
goods of the many outweigh the goods of the
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
sorry,
Yeah, well, there's that,
yeah.
and there's like infinite diversity and infinite combinations, but they don't even really believe in that. So,
And
like,
it's interesting, but the Vulcans, in that sense, benefit from running into that diversity because you're right. They're like pretty. The Vulcan way itself will just like tie them to like sitting in pajama for 100 years.
forever.
But they run into a human like Kirk and they make a friend, or somebody interesting like Shran or Picard, or uh, one of them starts hanging out with this person named Janeway, and all of a sudden they get pulled in all of these different directions. And yeah, I think a critical approach to Vulcan philosophy in certain senses always structured Star Trek, that basic triad. Oh,
you're right, Heather. It's
it
only a
is
paper.
only a paper
No,
moon.
let me tell you, Dave and I do a rousing rendition of.
I was just about to grab my guitar there.
Let's hear
Yeah,
it. Why
and my
not?
harmonica. Oh, I'm telling you, it's good.
Oh
I
man,
want to hear it. Let's do it.
where's my guitar?
There could be lag.
It could be.
Oh
I
my
might be out
God,
of tune.
are we gonna do it?
I'm
Are we?
grabbing my guitar.
Oh God! All right,
You guys, you brought it up, Davin. We're doing it.
all right. We're in with Paper Moon, everybody. This is what we do. We're playing Simple Tailors because we play tunes, mostly Vic Fontaine tunes. Okay, hold on, 1 second. No, stop playing for a sec there, Dave.
Oh, can you hear me?
No, I got to turn off all these like audio cancellation settings. All right, now try.
That's right.
Yeah, we ran into that problem trying to record stuff the other night. I went over all that. It didn't work. We got to raise the mic, and anyway, people are
Oh,
bored.
really?
Yeah.
All right.
Now my mic settings. Now try.
We ready?
Yeah, we'll play. See if it's gonna be loud enough we can hear it. Keep going. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
It's only a paper moon hanging over a cardboard sea, but it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Yes, it's only a canvas sky hanging over a muslin tree. It wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade. It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be make-believe It's a barman Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. Wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me.
All right,
Yeah, like
guys,
that.
that
All
was
right.
fantastic. You guys, we've had Hamlet quoted tonight, and now
That's true.
this is a new level of our show.
This is what we do.
It's fantastic.
Oh,
true.
that's great. You cats really know how to swing, crazy baby.
Well,
Heather.
thank
You really know how
you.
to talk to us, let me tell you.
That's right.
That's definitely speaking our language.
But look at it. Look
All
what she
right,
wrote next.
Pallies.
Look what she wrote next. No.
Oh, wait. Not very Ferengi of you to give this performance away for free. Hold on.
Drop a slip in the Exchequer's bucket now.
Well, I'm going to change the rule of 41. Music is its own reward.
Que vero.
And so is hanging out with you guys. And you, Heather.
Indeed.
Well,
Well, thanks, guys.
we hit a new, like I said, a new pinnacle tonight. This has been fantastic. I
How
enjoyed
was the
this.
lag on that, Adam? Were we?
It wasn't. No lag. It was
No?
great.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, really good.
All right.
Because there's a crazy snowstorm outside.
Yeah, I know. Baby, it's cold outside. Anyway.
Oh, here it is.
Oh.
It's very cool this
I've
time.
never done that one, but no.
Oh, man.
Everyone, go check out the latest Starfleet Academy with J. Den Krog.
Oh,
Yeah, well, actually,
what a great Klingon.
it took
Yep.
like I believe that this is probably one of the best character episodes in new Star Trek in years.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I might like that episode better than any episode of Strange New Worlds, and like that's Ad Astra per Aspera, and like
Ooh.
the war one that was episode 8 of that series. And was really
Well, definitely better than any season 3,
Man,
but it was really good, really good.
Right on.
well, you know, you can check us out at on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And,
Indeed.
Oh, we still got that banner running. Let me get rid of that little crazy banner. Where's that? There we go. All right. Yeah, and, you know, email us if you want at littlecutersoftrek@gmail.com, and we're a proud part of the Swear to Pod network.
We swear.
And I guess that only leaves one thing left to say.
End transmission.